Hello, Lycos. Welcome back to our channel. It's me, your fave, your one and only, your baby girl, Malaika. So, like us today, we are doing a critical review of Mr. Aloy series when marriage becomes a nightmare, episode 21. Sorry about that. It starts with Jonathan and his friend Emeka. Jonathan is trying to apologize to Emeka for going getting out of character. For example, because it was a pre-planned thing. This thing was planned based on the way it went down. It was planned. Jonathan wanted to humiliate his wife, because to him, he's a little man. Yes, only little men want to do that. He wants to humiliate his wife to teach her a lesson, because she's to him, she's humiliating him. you know based on the fact that she's not letting him in control the way he wants to be. He's trying to be in control, she's not letting him. He's trying to be in charge of the restaurant, she's not letting him. So he wanted to see how he could humiliate her, bring the worst out of her, and it backfired. So because of the fact that his daughter came in, Benny, he's trying to be this superhero father. So he didn't want Benny to see that he could not protect her mother. So he needed to act up. He needed to switch like things, like to just act as soon as he saw his daughter. So that was why he started punching his friend, whereas that was not the plan. That was not what they talked about. He just started punching this guy. you know so, and Emeka became very angry, because to Emeka, like, why would you want to do that? Like, because to Emeka is more like your family is not supposed to mean that much to you for trying to destroy our friendship. He's stupid. That's why he would think that way. Whereas to Jonathan, he's trying to be a hero. He's trying to show his daughter that I'm a good father. You see, I can take care of you. Your mother is the reason why things are happening like this. Your mother is responsible for this. So he was trying to show that he's a good dad. He can take care of business and everything, and that his wife is the bad one. So he had to act up. So he's trying to reassure his friend, begging him, making him to understand that, guy, calm down. I'm sorry I gave you a black eye, but I needed to show that I'm a father that can protect his family. How can you even take your friends to go to your wife's restaurant to humiliate her? That makes you a very little man. Yes, that makes you a little man. And a maker, from the look of things, knowing that he's a bad person, he's going to keep this thing. He's not going to forget, because internally he was speaking to himself that he is not going to forgive him for that. If every punch he received from him, he's going to pay. Yes, he is definitely going to pay. The next scene shows Benita very angry at her mom, trying to understand why would her mom let her father come to her restaurant with his friends to humiliate her, which is right. She is right. But her mother, as usual, is always trying to play safe. She's always trying to protect her husband. She's trying to make her daughter understand that, no, you're thinking too much. Your father will never do something like that. Your father did not do that. Didn't you see your father trying to protect me? So she's trying to make her daughter, say that, no, her husband, that was not what happened. Her husband was fighting for her. Her husband was there. He was trying to protect her, blah, 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 and all the rest. But the daughter was like, Mom, this girl, she's a teenager now. She's 16, so she sees things. She's no more a child that she'll just tell her things and she'll believe you. No, it's no longer like that. She sees these things. She knows that her mother is not saying the truth. She knows that her mother is trying to protect her dad. And one thing about Clara, when she tries to tell her daughter something and she doesn't listen, she'll always switch to that mother mode, when she wants her daughter not to question her character. Meaning that daughter should not get involved in things that concerns her father and her. She should mind her business, should not talk about it, blah, blah, blah. She'll always switch into that mode. You understand? But luckily, she has a very intelligent little girl, that speaks up her mind. Because she's telling her mother that, Mom, I saw what happened. She's trying to make her mother understand that it was fake. It was all planned. I saw my father started reacting when he saw me. Like, she's making her mother to understand that you alone can believe what you're saying, because I don't believe it. I saw what my father was doing. I saw what he was trying to do. She's a very intelligent girl. She's wanting her mother to understand that her dad is a fraud. You understand? Her father is a fraud. He's trying to do things, just to pretend that she knows what she saw, and she cannot unsee what she have seen. Yes, she cannot unsee what she have seen already. So her mother is just trying to intimidate her, ask her to keep quiet, not to meddle in their affairs. The next thing shows Debbie, who sat in the bar, and all of a sudden she noticed somebody that looks familiar, and she noticed that it was a maker. So eventually she'll have to approach, to find out what he was doing there and why he was sitting all alone. So eventually, two evil people, that wants the same thing without even realizing it. And this will be a perfect opportunity for them to know. But once she saw a maker, like, she was thinking like, I hope the blue eye you have is not you've not slept with a married woman, and that the husband has given you that blue eye, or the black eye, or whatsoever you might call it. Because Debbie already knows the kind of person that a maker is, and but the maker does not know who the kind of person that Debbie is. You understand? So finally, they realize that they have common enemies, because Debbie made it very clear to a maker that she's there simply because somebody stepped on her toes. And she realized that a maker also is there because somebody stepped on his toes. So now, when rubbing minds together, or eventually they'll find out the people that are their common enemies. Like us, people should be careful out there. Yes, people should be careful with the kind of friends they keep around them, because not everyone that smiles at you is your friend, or not everyone that comes to you, running when you are in trouble, pretending to care is a friend. No, not everyone is a friend. I promise you. You'll be surprised to see, if God could give us the ability to hear people's thoughts, you'll be shocked to hear what people are saying. I'm telling you the truth. You'll be shocked to hear it. People will say things, that you when they'll tell you, you'll be very surprised. So Debbie was happy that they have a common enemy, and she was planning how she was going to crush Jonathan, Benita, Clara, and Hanks, like the entire family. She just wants to destroy everything, because to her they are not worth enjoying anything. But now the question is, what happened? The next thing shows Benny studying, she's doing her assignment, and her father walked in, like, to check on her, what is she up to, and to find out why she was studying at that time. He's trying to start small talks, and all the rest, to find out, like, to him to behave as if he cares a lot about his daughter, whereas what he's looking at people to be on his side. How can you be, you're married to a woman, but you're treating her like she is your enemy? That's why they say there's nobody worse than an insider who becomes an enemy. Now he's trying to behave as though he really cares, like he wants to apologize for what she saw, for what happened, stuff like he wants to be a good dad. He wants to show his softer side. He wants, not knowing that his daughter already knew what's up, what was going on. He tried to, to cover up, to behave as though he is very sorry. He was thinking that he was a hero, so he wanted to be applauded, so that he would destroy his daughter's mind, poison it against her mother. But he was shocked to realize that his daughter was there all along. She told him, I was standing there. So I don't know what you're coming here to say. You understand? To her, based on what she was saying, based on my analysis, it was more like I was there the whole time. He just didn't notice. I wasn't at the restaurant. The funniest thing is that his daughter was at the restaurant before he even went there with his friends. He didn't know this, So now he was trying to play the part that her mother must have been the one who have told her those things, or to tell to, or a client would have, must have told her, because she came when her mother was arguing with this guy. So it must have been a client. He was shocked to realize that no, it had nothing to do with clients. This girl was standing there all along, because her mother wanted, like her dad wanted to paint her mother very black by telling her that her mother disrespected her friend, disrespected his friends that he took to the restaurant. That was where he was driving at. But he was so quick to shut his mouth when his daughter made him to understand that, Dad, I was there, like from the very beginning. Yes, from the very beginning, before you people even reached the restaurant, I was at the restaurant. How can you condemn your wife in front of your child? It doesn't make sense. You're saying that clients at the restaurant told her, so it means that she cannot go to the restaurant on her own. What clients told her? Yes, what clients told her? So she's making her dad to understand, Dad, come on, I was there, I know what I saw. All this thing you're saying, you're wasting your time. I know what I saw. That was where her father, it dawned on him that, Omo, this child has caught me red-handed. Oh, yes, he couldn't say anything. He was shocked the lies now. And she made him to understand that if her mother is even making her to know that her dad could not do something like that. Her mother is protecting him, But the man was shocked the lie. She told, like, I am glad, because she was very respectful, but at the same time, she was blatantly honest. She was telling him the truth that he deserved to hear. And he felt so bad. He felt so bad realizing that his schemes couldn't work. Yes, he felt bad realizing that the plot that he has plotted with his friends, had backfired to his face. Yeah, he really did feel bad. So the next scene shows Debbie, that is explaining, a strategy to use to destroy Clara, and hangs together to destroy the relationship between this guy Jonathan and his daughter together, Queen Naomi and he I say Queen, sorry, Clara and he himself, Jonathan, together, like just to use each family member against the other. And Emeka was happy, because to Emeka, this is what he wants. He wants to destroy Jonathan. He wants to destroy his wife, for reasons best known to them. Till now, they have not been able to establish what happened. They have not been able to talk about the reason behind their sudden change, the reason behind them, trying to be these bad friends. They have not talked about it. But this is crazy, like us. That the same people you call your friends will be the one plotting for your downfall. This is crazy. Debbie was saying that she would do everything necessary, everything humanly possible to drag them through the mud and to destroy everything and everyone. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It doesn't matter what happens. Like this guy, what's his name? Emeka realized in the process that she is just learning. When it comes to Debbie, he is learning. You understand? He realized that he who is learning, because the plans that Debbie has for this lady Clara and her family is not good at all. Yes, because even their daughter is involved. Remember the video that she took, when Benny was hugging what's his name, Hanks, in a very innocent way. Who knows what she'll do with it, because she's emphasizing on that video. She's talking about that video and all the rest, and she wants to show this guy Emeka. So that is the first thing that she's going to use. Like, who does that? Why would you be thinking it is an innocent thing? It was an innocent video. Who wants to hug a child in a sexual way and do it like it? It was innocent. I'm not saying that there are not people like that, but it was just innocent. Emeka realized that Debbie is his boss, in this game, and he asked Debbie to teach him. You understand? He asked Debbie to teach him so that he will be able to understand, like they should join forces, to come together and work together as one. And Debbie was okay with it. So how can you be okay to work against your friend? Somebody you call your friend. Like, as this is crazy, I can't lie to you people. Someone you call your friend. How is it possible that you come together? You know, how is it possible that you come together with somebody like that? So the next thing shows Jonathan in his bedroom, pressing his phone while Clara walked in, to go to bed. So as she sat, she dropped her phone, and Jonathan was just looking at her. Then the next thing, Jonathan, Jonathan wants to take his flowers for being the hero of the family. He wants to take his flowers. He wants everybody to know what he did. So to him, it's more like he knows that Clara is happy that she was able to fight, his friend, and beat him up because of her. She's happy. But Jonathan's jaws, like his jaws dropped immediately. When Clara like looked at him and made him to understand that I know all your plans. I know all the evil things that you've been doing. I'm aware that your fight was a scheme. Your fight was fake, which means before this child even said it, you understand, Clara already knew, but Clara didn't want. Well, I try to understand. Clara is that type of mother that does not want to expose her child because of for her mental health sake. Yes, she does not want her child to see her father as a bad man. She's trying everything humanly possible not to. Whereas Jonathan is not helping matters. Jonathan instead wants their daughter to see Clara as a bad mother. That's why Clara is always telling what's her name? What's her name? Benny, that don't get involved in matters that concern your father and I. Do not put your mouth. You barely see Clara going to Debbie to Benny to talk about her father, but you always see Jonathan trying to talk about his wife in a negative light, to his daughter, whereas Clara is instead trying to make sure that they don't have issues. She's trying everything to make sure that her daughter respects her father, but the father is doing the contrary. This is crazy, like us. Honestly, this is crazy. So Clara just made Jonathan to understand that it doesn't matter what you do, how far you go. But one thing I want to tell you is this: you can never, put my daughter up against me. You cannot, because you are always trying to do that. I'll never do that against you, because Jonathan accused her of being an instigator, of being somebody that is trying, of being the one that is trying to put their daughter against him, which is not the truth, which is a very lie from the pit of hell. Whereas Clara has done nothing else but try to make their daughter stay away from their troubles. Yes, she's always reminding her daughter that he is your father and he's my husband. So we have the right to have issues, and you as a daughter have no right to get involved. That is a good mother. Whereas Jonathan is doing the opposite of that. Then at the end of the day, he will come and accuse somebody else. I am glad that Clara is not that naive person that he used to manipulate before, because that is what is making him angry. The fact that it is so difficult for him to be able to manipulate this woman anymore. Clara is not letting that happen. If he wants to manipulate her mother, let him go ahead. But she herself, she's not letting it happen. She's not letting Jonathan to manipulate her. So like, as we are going to end this video, thank you so much. Like as honestly speaking, people should be very careful when choosing. It's true that you choose partners, sometimes they'll be pretending. It is when it's too late that you start noticing certain red flags. But people should always watch out for the flags, because they are always there. Yes, the red flags are always there. Protect your mental health. Anxiety is real. Don't let it get over your head. Please don't. Do not let it. So thank you so much, likers. Thank you for everything. I really appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for your support. On this note, I'll have to say bye, guys.
my Jordan, but don't go down, Papa is a great, I'm very cool. Now you can need love for this whole world. I know go fit tire. Now you be my desire. Let's be together.